Hello my friends, alright, let's make that prediction with the SVR model. So we're gonna create a new code cell here, and here we go. We're gonna start, of course, from our regressor, from which we're gonna call the predict method that will take as input. And now I'm asking you, what will it exactly take as input? Well, it's not directly the 6.5 level, but the scaled value of the 6.5 level, right? Because our SVR model was trained on the scaled values of the training set, and therefore in the predict method we must enter the scaled value of the input that we want to predict. And therefore here we must call our scalar x object, from which we're going to call the transform method. There we go. And then in this transform method of our scalar object, well, that's where we can enter our position level of 6.5. But remember, we have to enter it in a double pair of square brackets because the predict method expects any input as a 2D array. Alright, so let's enter 6.5. And now, that's not all. There are two extra things we need to do. Remember that we not only scaled the input in x, but we also scaled the output. Remember, I'll go back to feature scaling here. We made that scalar object for the input x, but also that scalar object scy for the output y. And indeed, we used that scalar y object here to scale the output y. And therefore, since the output y was scaled, well, in order to get the prediction in the original scale, meaning the original salaries, well, we must apply a reverse scaling to that whole prediction, right? And the method that will do exactly this is a method called inverse transform, and that will exactly reverse the scaling that we applied to the output y. Alright, so let's do this. Let's call this method. First we have to call it from our sc_y object, because we want to reverse the scaling of the output y. So scy, from which we call this inverse underscore, there it is, inverse transform method, and then we will put this whole prediction in the parenthesis of this inverse transform method of the scy object. So here we go, we add a parenthesis here, and we close it right here. Alright, almost ready, we're almost ready to get that prediction, but there is one last thing we need to do, and you don't need to worry too much about this. This is just for the SVR model. You won't have to apply too much of reshapes in all the other models of this course, but to avoid a format error, we must just add inside the parenthesis of the inverse transform method another reshape, which is dot reshape, and then in parentheses you enter -1 and 1. And this way we will all avoid a format error and we'll all be able to get the prediction. Alright, so that's it. We are ready to get the prediction, but first, remember that in the previous tutorial we didn't run the cell, so let's do it now to train the SVR model. Here it is. And so now, if you're ready, let's get the predicted salary of the position level 6.5 by the SVR model. Here we go, let's run this cell, and we get $170,370. Alright, it looks pretty good. It looks to make pretty good sense, but that we will double check in the next tutorial by visualizing the SVR results. Try to do it before me. You will again have to play with the SCX transform and SCY inverse transform, but you can do it. You can of course start from the code at the end of the polynomial regression notebook. At least that's where we'll start from. So I look forward to this, and until then, enjoy machine learning.